12.2 arithmetic sequence. We know a sequence by itself is just really just a list of terms that maps a sequence number to the actual term. It's a function. But if a sequence follows a certain pattern, we call it arithmetic. The pattern is this. If you happen to have a sequence where the difference from one term to the next, and we call the difference D, which is handy when the letter is the same as what it means, the difference D of consecutive terms is constant. Of consecutive terms is constant. Now, you've worked with many different kinds of sequences, so you know that they don't always have to be arithmetic at all. They could be powers of 10. That's not arithmetic. But if it is arithmetic, if it is, then there is a formula. And the formula is this, and we'll make sure it makes sense, is that the nth term, if you're looking for the formula for the nth term, it is this. It is always this. The nth term equals the first term, a sub 1, plus adding that difference n minus 1 times. And the way you write that with math is n minus 1 times d. So this is the formula that always works for the nth term, and having this formula can help us, but we want to make sure it also makes intuitive sense so that we don't have to memorize it, or when we forget it, we can. So let me explain the terms in this formula so it makes sense. So for example, in the warm-up today, you were looking at this sequence, 9, 12, 15, 18, etc. If you want to find the fifth term, you would do this. You would add, you all can see that you're adding 3 every time. Add 3, yes. Okay, so if I want the next term, or the nth term, I would add 3 4 times. So do you see, to get to the fifth, this explains this formula because I'm not going to give it to you on the test. You need to know it. So for the fifth term, you would add 3 4 times, or n minus 1 times, in order to get to the fifth term. So you need to be able to remind yourself, if you forget the formula, what's going on. So let's try this. A sub 5. So for example, let's just plug things into this formula. The fifth term, a sub 5, equals the first term, 9. You have to start somewhere. And then you would add 3, right? Because you go across, you would add 3, n minus 1 times. N is 5 in this case. If you want the fifth term, n is 5, so n minus 1, you would add it 3 times. And this maps this formula exactly. The nth term, the fifth term, equals the first term plus n minus 1 times d. And doing the arithmetic here gives you 21. And sure enough, you know, if you looked at the pattern here, you would fill this in with 21. Yes, that works. And better yet, if you want to find the formula, you can go like this. A sub n equals, like you could use this technique on the quiz today if you like it. A sub n equals the first term, 9, plus n minus 1 times, let's say we're trying to find the general formula, you can use this. The nth term is the first term. If you know the first term, and you know the difference, you can see it, you can do this and watch what will happen. If I simplify this, I get 9 plus 3n minus 3. You have to, you know, simplify it. And you would get 3n plus 6. And that's kind of what this, what you were already able to do in the warm-up and before today, is to do this without any formula. The multiples of 3, and you would add 6. And that gives you any term, like the 100th term, without having to write it all out. So 3n plus 6, you could go directly to that using what you already know, or if you understand the formula, you'll remember it and then you can use it. But I won't give it to you because you should know intuitively what it means. So questions so far on that? We're going to do 3 different types of examples where I give you different information and you have to find the formula for the nth term. Okay, because they're not always given like this. So let's try these examples. The directions will say, write the rule for the nth term. Write the rule for the nth term, and then find, just arbitrarily in this example, we're always going to find the 20th term, but we would be able to do anything. Then find a sub 20. Those are the directions for the next 3 examples. So let's try this. Let's say we have 17. We'll do one more where we're just given the numbers. 14, 11, 8. Okay, so one way of doing this is using the formula. We'll do it that way for this example. So we'd say a sub n equals the first term, which is 17, plus, this is always n minus 1, times the difference. And what's the common difference to go from 17 to 14 to 11 to 8? So, exactly, subtracting 3. Negative 3 goes right there. So then, to get the formula, we're just going to simplify, distribute, this is algebra 1, distribute negative 3n plus 3. When you distribute a negative 3 to both, you can distribute from the right side. And then you'll get your final answer for the nth term is negative 3n plus 20. And the 20th term, to use this formula for any term, you'd say a sub 20. That means 20th term, and that means n is 20. You plug in 20 for n, and that gives you, yes, negative 40 for the 20th term. So let's do another one. Let's say, now, this is different. I'm going to tell you this time, the part of the puzzle I'm going to give you, I'm going to tell you that the 11th term is negative 57. Yeah, and I'm going to tell you that the common difference is negative 7. And the directions are the same, okay? Write a rule for the nth term and find a sub 20. Okay. The easiest way to do this is to think. to find the 20th term. Are we going to find the first term or the, let me think here for a second. A sub 2, 1, 2. Yeah, okay, to find the 20th term, let's say we forgot everything. We forgot the formula, everything. So let's think about it. If we're going to go from, we're going to try to find the 20th term right now. So if you started at negative 57, which is the 11th term, right? How many times would I have to add this common difference of negative 7 in order to get to the 20th term? Any thoughts, intuition? Very good. 9, exactly. How do you get 9? Well, 20 minus 11 is 9. If I want to get to the 20th term from the 11th, I'm going to have to do something 9 times. So that will give me my answer for a sub 20 by just thinking about it. So a sub 20, just do this arithmetic and you'll get negative 120. Negative 120. Okay, so we want to be able to find, so we found the 20th term first, but we still need the general formula for it for any term. Unfortunately, to use that formula, we need to know the first term. In order to do this, we need to know what a sub 1 is if we're going to use this formula. So, working backward, how would we find a sub 1? So to find a sub 1, okay, good. So we would start with negative 57, right? And then we would work backwards. So we would subtract this common difference of negative 7. How many times? To go from the 20th to the 1st, the 11th to the 1st, we would do it how many times? 10 times, right? To go from a sub 11 to a sub 1, we would do it 10 times to go in reverse. So that should give us a sub 1, which should be 13, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you. So a sub 1 equals 13. And now we can find the formula. I have to go to this next page, but we can find the formula by using the formula. A sub n. So this is still number 2, continued. And I would use this formula, a sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1d. So the nth term is the first term, which we just found, which is 13, plus n minus 1. The common difference is negative 7. So we go 13 plus negative 7n plus 7. So the nth term is going to be 20 minus 7n, or negative 7n plus 20, same thing. Okay, and now last but not least example is, now I'm going to tell you that the 7th term is 26. I'm going to tell you that the 16th term is 71. And now, again, the same directions. What is the 20th term, and what's the general formula? Okay, so to find this common difference, how many times do you have to do your, adding your common difference to go from the 7th term to the 16th term? How many times? 9 times, right? You have to do it 9 times. So you write an equation to find this common difference. You just go like this. Okay, 26, if I start at the 7th term, I would have to add my common difference 9 times, and that would get me to 71. Do you see how that's just a basic linear equation? And that will help you find that common difference. So solving this, that's 9d equals 71 minus 26 is 45, I think I heard. And so d, the common difference, is 5. So great. Now we've solved part of our mystery. Do we know the first term? In order to find the general term, like in order to do this formula, remember it's a sub 1 plus n minus 1d. We need to know d, and we need to know the first term. We need a sub 1 and d. So to find a sub 1, you're going to work backward, right? So you would start with 26 is the closest to a sub 1, and you would subtract our common difference how many times? 6, right? 6 times. Because a sub 1, you subtract the index number. 7 minus 1 is 6. Okay, so 26 minus 30 is negative 4, right? Okay, so now we're ready to use our formula. So you'd say a sub n equals negative 4 plus n minus 1 times d, which is 5. And after we just simplify this, we're ready to have our formula. Negative 4 plus 5n minus 5, or negative 9 plus 5n. So we did it. And of course your next quick quiz will be on doing this. But hopefully that's good. Those are all the different types of things that you could see.